Welcome to Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerantz. We're in Riverside County today, and we are joined by Paul Angulo. He is the Auditor Controller of Riverside County. So I used to be a lawyer. That's another conversation, but I was a lawyer at a studio, a Hollywood studio. And I'd walk down the hallways and everyone would like hide and run. Oh no, the lawyer's coming. Do you get that a little bit as the Auditor Controller of Riverside County when you walk by department heads?
Yes, we do. We do get that a little bit. We're trying to change that model to be a consultant and advisor as well.
So tell us about the role of the Auditor Controller in a county with over 2 million people.
Very good. The Auditor Controller is actually the top fiscal officer for the county. To put it into context, Riverside County's budget is larger than 15 states in the United States. And when you add in which is $5 billion, and when you add in the operational assets, my job is to lead the oversight over more than $12 billion.
Or assets such as the hospital?
The hospital, the fleet, the automobiles, the computers, land, anything that is the fleet services for the sheriff.
Well, and Riverside County has a huge amount of land. Not quite as big as San Bernardino County, which is the largest county geographically in the lower 48, but still, it's a very large county. Goes to the state line, no?
It does. It's 7,000 square miles, the size of New Jersey.
Oh, so let's talk about that county that's the size of New Jersey with 52 departments. You, as you said, are looking to create best practices, best fiscal management. Over the last couple of years, you have adopted what's known as monitoring reports. Explain what that is, and then we'll talk about what departments took on those monitoring reports.
Well, a monitoring report is something that we can give the decision makers, the board of supervisors, that they can act in real time, because your general audits take 1 to 2 years.
Oh, I see.
So by the time we deliver a standard audit, it's history. It's almost archival, in my opinion. And I think that the people want to see results, not excuses, frankly.
Of course.
Okay. And so this gets to the board quickly. They can make timely decisions.
And how often, for a department that's willing to be monitored, how often are these reports issued?
Well, actually, I don't go around asking for permission. As an elected officer, the people have designated me to go in, fix it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So I go in there and we have a nice conversation and we start analyzing.
So as I understand it, you have gone into the hospital, the county hospital, and the information technology department.
Correct.
And engaged in this practice. Talk to us about what you learned through the monitoring report practice.
Well, we were able to advise the board that the hospital, for example, the overtime was just way off the charts.
That's a common story.
Yes, but that's a common story that will lead to bankruptcy.
And we know what happened in San Bernardino City.
Right, and we can't afford that as a public safety net hospital. So what happened was the board took a very close look at it. The hospital managers took a close look at it. They were able to reduce the overtime by $15 million.
Wow, that's real money.
That's a lot of money that can be used for other services in the county, because also I hope the folks understand that the county is where a lot of the real work happens in state governance.
Well, that's an understatement. I think a lot of folks, the mayor, it's a very kind of specific position, taking nothing away from the mayor of Riverside, but it's an executive position. I've learned through my work that counties really are where the rubber hits the road. I mean, grants, federal, state, funding flows to counties through the state and the U.S. government, whereas the cities, it's a little different.
Yeah, that's very true. For example, the roads. The counties have a huge interest and involvement with the infrastructure of the roads. The county also does the public social services. So that is huge.
All health.
All health, that is huge.
Not through the cities.
Through the generosity of the people, we assist those that are the most in need.
Tell us about your information technology monitoring report and what you learned, most broadly.
Well, let me put it this way. There's a lot of opportunity for improvement. Okay, extremely important. It protects IDs, social security numbers.
Well, we know what's happened recently with the federal government, with Sony Pictures. I mean, there have been a lot of hacks.
That's exactly correct. Okay, and that's where I was going with this, because what we've seen in a lot of government entities is the very lax or in the confidential arena. And what we see is a unloading of this information, and we see it across the nation. So what my interest was that the IT department shore up their firewalls and take the internal controls, which is extremely important, more seriously.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
See, my question becomes, I've asked this of other people in your position in other jurisdictions. You put out these great reports. It could be a monitoring report, it could be an audit, but you don't have enforcement authority. So how are you able to make sure that your great work is implemented?
You'd be surprised how public influences
Right.
What executives do.
Right.
And that's really where we're coming from. And on the second hand is that there is a report, there's an analysis, there's an investigation that has been completed. So the managers see it, the board sees it. The board ultimately is the boss,
of course,
for these departments.
But do you maybe, I don't know, a year after a report's issued, go back to see, oh, this has been implemented, this has not, this has been implemented?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And I would like our viewers to understand that I'm not there to keep the chair warm. Okay, I'm there to make something happen for the citizens of Riverside County. I'm all in.
Okay, I hear you. Let's talk about another initiative of yours. There's something called the Treadway Commission. Give me a sense what the Treadway Commission is and how you're helping it to apply to a public entity like a county.
What occurred in the financial institutions meltdown had the federal government have to get involved and establish the Treadway Commission to bring forth a framework, a comprehensive framework for analysis of corporations that are publicly traded.
Okay, but there's still private corporations that are publicly traded. I know that may sound contradictory, but yes.
Yes, and this is from corporations from the stock market.
Right, of course.
These are very, very high standards.
Right.
I'm bringing that to Riverside County.
That's stunning.
Okay, the only government that we are aware of that's taking leadership in this arena. Because,
what does that mean?
Well, that means that we're going to look into a lot of areas that's never been looked into before. Okay, because internal audits have a tendency to do this very same thing over and over and over.
Right.
Okay, look in the very same areas. For example, look to see if a check, what they call warrants, have two endorsements, have been endorsed twice.
I see.
That's fine.
That's simple.
Okay, but we need to get to where the real action is, where the money is, where the meat is, where the biggest risk is. So the COSO framework will help us go into a greater variety of areas.
So this is starting over the summer.
Yes.
And what do your colleagues think of this?
Well, it's different. They understand it's different. It's not a status quo operation anymore, not under my leadership.
Right.
Okay. We want to make change in the Riverside County area.
The standards are, by definition, going to be higher. If you find folks are not complying with these higher standards, do you believe they need to adjust their behavior? Because like I had said, it's not the same gap, I guess you could say, general accepted accounting principles.
Yes.
So will you push for that?
Absolutely. I think as a representative of the people, we want to see government improve. It has to improve. Okay, we can't be spending these grotesque amounts of money and cost overruns. That's what we're going to be looking into.
When do you expect to issue your first report using Treadway standards?
Probably in 6 months.
Really?
I'm very excited about this.
And you need to come back and tell us about it. His name is Paul Angulo. He is the Auditor Controller of Riverside County. We are in Riverside today. My name is Brad Palmer. We thank you so much for joining us on Charter Local Edition.